What did your crush do that absolutely killed your interest? This was in college. We were acquaintances and had a few classes together. He was cute, funny, and I totally had a crush on him. He asked me out to dinner and a movie. At the restaurant he ordered the most expensive things on the menu. Apps, drinks, lobster, and even dessert. When the bill came he said, "You got this, right?" I was so embarrassed I paid. Then I said I'd skip the movie because I wasn't feeling well and he asked me to give him $20 for gas and for wasting his time. I didn't and just left. Ugh. After that he couldn't seem to understand why I didn't want to go out with him again. Holy LMAO. Why did he assume you'd pay when he asked you out? Why did you go along with it instead of insisting on separate checks at that point? I was giving her a place to sleep when she was feuding with her mother. After weeks of picking up after her, I dared to complain. She had a screaming fit, packed up her crap and left. I was glad to be rid of her, until later it got around to me that she was telling people on FB that I kicked her out for refusing to give me a blowjob. There is a lot I can forgive, but that was the first time I had ever had anyone just straight up make stuff up about me. We went to Disneyland, where I had an annual pass, with my friends and family for an event called Dapper Day where you dress up in dapper clothing so everything looks very old-timey. I had done it for years with my friends and he wanted to come, and my mom and siblings were going for the first time too. I was really excited as it was the first time he had ever met my family. Well, we went on one ride with my family and my friends and then he said, "Do you want to go on a ride just me and you?" I thought we'd come back and spend the rest of the day with them, but as soon as we were out of earshot he was complaining about my family and how weird it was that they were there and he wanted to do Disney with just me. But he had known they were coming so I was confused. Then we went on one more ride and he started complaining about how hot it was, how tired he was, and before lunch he wanted to go home. I was super upset but didn't want him leaving on his own so I just went with him. But on the way home I wished I had just let him leave and I could have stayed with all the people I loved. It was the first time in years my sister and my mom had been to Disney and I didn't know it then, but it was the last time I got to go with my brothers before they grew up, and now they hate me. He was just some dude I dated. Not a boyfriend or anything that lasted very long. I'm still so mad at myself for letting him ruin my day. But yeah, it absolutely killed anything I felt for him and we broke up a few days later. We were in the process of getting together. She had called over and we spent an afternoon watching movies and sitting close together. By about 8 in the evening she was considering staying later and I was casually encouraging her. She asked if she could take a shower, and I was like, yeah, sure of course. Glad that the bathroom was clean and tidy and I had fresh towels. Anyway, about 4 minutes later she calls me saying she needs help with the shower, and I give her a moment to get a towel around herself and knock on the bathroom door. She opens it completely naked, and shows me that she's having trouble with the shower controls. So I'm kinda unsure whether to make the move or start with the controls, so I go with the flow and show her, this is hot and cold, this is pressure, this is rainforest, and this is power jets. In the 5 seconds it takes me to do this she has sat on the toilet. Which is kinda a weird thing because I need to be able to make the next move. And she's sitting on the toilet, naked, with the lid up. Looking all disinterested. I'm thinking, I've screwed it up, when suddenly, kersplosh. And she takes a dump right in front of me. And then another one. I was just, I'll leave you to it. He talked about how he and his friends used to abuse farm cats. They talked about one that was buried and then run over. I did a quick 180 and absolutely hated him. Edit, little late now, but thank you everyone for the upvotes. Unfortunately I only heard about the abuse when he was talking to someone else, and it wasn't a recent thing, think high school, and at this point he was a few years into college. I also live in Farmtown, USA, so this really isn't an uncommon thing, and I doubt the cops would do anything. I'm glad to see so many caring people on here, though. Cats don't get as much love in my community as they should. Our 3 are here living in spoiled royalty, and my dad hates it. Smiley face. Kept arranging times to talk and whatnot, then always forgot or was not available. I've had the same thing happen to me. She would always text me and ask if I could chat at a certain time, of course I would agree, then when I called she would have her phone off or only answer 5% of the time. I really liked her too, so I was just like WTF. If you say you want to talk at so and so time, you know, answering the phone might help. I had this girl text me, not me text her, 5 days in a row asking to hang out and stuff. I would say yes, then ask what she wanted to do. I would never get a response. I don't understand how you can ask somebody to hang out and then just ghost them. And I only kept getting my hopes up because she had some B's excuse to go with it. His sister actually approached me and let me know that he was once arrested for locking their other pregnant sister in their basement, went on a coke binge while she desperately tried to get out, and went outside to beat their unsuspecting neighbor's van with a golf club. That was a big ol' nope. Sister's a legend BTW. Edit, thank you all for the cake day messages. It was really cool of her to tell me about all of that, and she actually continued to warn women about him even if some of the girls wouldn't listen and had to experience firsthand. She's really out here for her fellow females. Huge crush on a fellow uni student. I was invited over for what I expected to be a platonic study date, but hey, any time spent is better than just being alone, or so I thought. Got there and found another student from class also. Okay, study group? Turns out her mom and her set us up for a full press MLM pitch. Video, literature, the works. I stayed a bit not to be rude, excused myself shortly, and only talked to her in class just in passing from then on. Huge letdown. Edit, MLM means multi-level marketing, aka a pyramid scheme. Signing up to both buy and sell something, while recruiting others to sell also. You get a % of all of your recruits' sales also. All the percentages basically flow upward, so the only way to make any significant money is to be high in the tree, towards the top of the pyramid. It's all, basically. It's MLM, you're allowed to be rude to get away from these delusional scam artists. It was more morbid curiosity, because I knew it was BS from the first minute. I wanted to see how they could possibly sell this idea. It was the family of Eagles scam from the mid-90s. Buying gold coins as investment, while somehow helping pay off the US national debt. The tie-in was totally glossed over, and the actual gold content was overpriced by more than triple. Little did they know that my father was an avid coin collector and had taught me a lot about the hobby. I knew full well how mint sets, actual currency, specialty coins, collectible, but only real value was raw materials, and bulk metals worked. Talked non-stop about himself and his accomplishments and never asked me one question about myself. Experienced this, but he would ask me questions about myself and after one line from me, would take over the conversation and somehow direct the spotlight from my answer back onto himself, almost competitively. Went on a date with a guy similar to this LOL, he loved himself and whenever he asked me a question he would take my reply and tell me why I was wrong for thinking it, and then tell me his right version. When I was a teenager we worked together as lifeguards. I adored him so much until one day he just starts talking about this random woman, that he didn't know and wasn't even there, that was wearing shorts. He said he was fine until she sat down and had some cellulite on her thighs. And he kept being angry and talking about how she should be doing squats to be more appealing. Like, his rant was angry and long and no one was adding to his conversation. Just silence. After that I took off my rose-colored glasses and saw that he was, in fact, a huge douchebag. I'm kinda grateful he showed himself that way, cause I was really into him until then. Could have been a bad time for my teenage brain. We worked together and as I got to know him more I learned he talked badly about everyone. Nurses that are amazing he'd belittle, talk about how certain people don't know what they're doing because they asked for an ultrasound for as they were struggling getting a vein on a heroin addict. The paramedics were worthless, doctors don't know what they're doing, who he thought was hooking up and it completely turned me off. He's in his early 40s and into gossip more than my teenage daughter. Ah yes, the know-it-all ER tech who finished half of medic school. I laughed way more than I should have because this specific person is a nurse tech. He picked me up for our first date and his car was disgusting. Not talking a few trash items, the entire backseat and floorboard was completely covered in piled up trash, even up front. I had to step on empty McDonald's bags, old soda bottles, wrappers etc. to even get in. And all he said was, just move it around with your feet. No sorry or anything. Made me feel like trash too. Like dang, couldn't even clean up a little? But you're the Goblin Queen. Hey man, even goblins have standards.